it's me, Addie. When I tell you this is the third time I'm trying to record this video, or a video in general, the first time I recorded the whole thing, realized the audio cut out on me 12 minutes in. Second time, I'm out of breath. I had my AirPod in, and I realized that the whole entire audio that I did record, it was picking up from my AirPod, so it literally sounded like I was in a fishbowl. So we've got it figured out, I think. Fingers crossed. And I don't want to read any of the stories that I already read today. I'm going to forget them and then come back to them at another point. So I'm like, wait, what do I do? Okay, today's topic is going to be neighbors from hell. I'm very lucky and thankful that all of my neighbors are amazing. One of them, after we lost, little lore for those who don't know. Back in June, we adopted 2 kittens, Salem and Casper. And then, quite literally, the day that me and Jacob got engaged, oh my god, Casper ended up getting some horrible neurological issues. He was really young, and we unfortunately did have to put him down because he just could not function the day we got engaged, mind you. It was a nightmare for the longest time. I was having weird obsessive thoughts over, I was like, oh god, our whole entire marriage is gonna be cursed because our kitten died. But yeah, so then we just had Salem, and our neighbor ended up reaching out to me and was like, we rescue cats all the time, and we have this one, she's one of our barn cats, but she's too pretty to be a barn cat, would y'all want her? And so we took her, and now we have our Salem and our Luna, and they are the silliest, sweetest sisters ever. I miss Casper every day. I literally have a bottle of his hair on my nightstand. But that's not what today's topic is. Also, I'm sorry if I keep messing with my lip. I have chewed it to the bone. The daggum bone. And then our other neighbor is just a really sweet old man, and he has a horse. And he had chickens at one point. I haven't seen the chickens in a while, though, so they may have gotten eaten. But he has a horse now, and I like to go outside and say, hey, to the horse. Anyways, yes, so this is Neighbors from Hell. Don't have them. Thank you, God. Okay, so this first story is coming... Oh, just kidding. It's been removed by the moderator. That's so funny. I love it. Okay. What about this one? Okay. This one also does have an update too. This one is called My Neighbor's Dogs Are Making My Life Miserable and I Finally Snapped. Sorry, I'm judging already because we have dogs across from us that bark all the time, and I just don't care. I love them. I love that they're there, and I don't mind that they bark. Anyways, so sorry. I, 42 female, live next door to a 26-year-old couple, newly married, new parents, renting the property. I own mine. For the first few months they lived here, things were pleasant enough. Polite hellos, casual chats, no drama. They have 2 high-energy dogs that are completely unsocialized. They spend all day either locked up inside or dumped in the backyard, barking at every sound or movement. When the baby was born, it somehow got worse. The dogs are outside for hours, barking nonstop, sometimes 2 hours straight. At first, I thought it was just the baby adjustment phase. 4 months later, this is clearly their new normal. We're on a panhandle setup with 5 properties, so everyone's backyards are connected, meaning everyone hears it. I decided to talk to her. Big mistake. She immediately blamed other neighbors, said I was being unreasonable, and acted like I was suggesting animal cruelty for expecting the dogs to be managed. I have a high-energy reactive dog myself. He's walked daily, stimulated, and spends most of his time outside without causing chaos, so that logic didn't fly. We ended the talk agreeing she'd manage it and I'd be patient. This past week has been the worst week yet. The barking starts around 6 a.m. and goes on throughout the day. I can't garden, relax, or even play with my own dog without being met with 15 to 20 minutes of nonstop aggressive barking. Out of sheer frustration one morning, I told the dogs to move away from the fence. Not my best move, but it was my limit. Later that day, I went shopping and left my 22-year-old son at home. He was sitting in the backyard when the dogs started up again. Only this time, he overheard the neighbor telling her dogs it was okay because I wasn't home. The barking continued for another hour. That was my breaking point. I called her landlord and reported everything. The constant barking, the home business she's running, the bylaw violations. I told them they've got a week before I take it up with law enforcement. I know it was a bit of a nuclear move, but after months of sleep deprivation, disrupted peace, and a complete lack of responsibility on their part, I honestly don't feel bad. Honestly, from this story, it does sound like the dogs aren't properly being taken care of. So I apologize for judging in the beginning. It is sad because it's like she's a new parent. So, I mean, like, them possibly being kicked out of their home is a bit disturbing. But, I mean, you gotta handle your stuff even if you have a kid. Let's read some of the comments, though. Top comment, good for you, those dogs are being neglected. That's exactly how I view it. The dogs aren't the problem, the owners clearly are. Also, she did everything right. She tried to talk to the neighbor, and then the neighbor didn't do anything about it. And also, she did say something about sleep deprivation, and I know, like, a lot of people do keep their dogs out all the time, but come on now. Just, like, put them in, like, the laundry room or something, so they're not, if it's like okay, here's my thing. I feel like if you live in a community where there's, like, a lot of people around you, you shouldn't have outdoor animals. Now, if you live on a farm and you're blessed to have, like, land and stuff, and you have outdoor animals, and they're safe, and they have, like, proper shelter, then whatever. But this doesn't seem like that situation, so I think I agree with all the comments saying, like, this seems a little neglectful, but there's an update. Okay. The update says, hands down the quietest day in our neighborhood in months. They've locked themselves up in their house all day, so the message has obviously been received. I can even hear a rooster crowing in the distance. Imagine appreciating the sound of a rooster. I'll update if anything changes, hoping for consistent consideration and a better situation for these poor dogs. Aw. So, yeah, the neighbor cares about the dogs. Like, she literally has a, like, what did she say? A high energy dog. She replied to a comment and it said, I was actually called and told how terribly unfair it was that her dogs had to be locked up because there was nothing she could do about the barking. I was also told I was being unreasonable and expecting that her dogs need anti-barking devices because they are cruel. I'm pretty sure there's some gaslighting involved. I agree that there's deflection, but there's also only X amount of context in the post too, because I was pissed as hell about the most recent incident. Well, there's no update on that one other than the one I just read, but I hope the dogs get a bit of a better situation. Okay. Ooh, this one's kind of odd. This is also from r/neighborsfromhell. It was posted 12 days ago. The title is New Neighbors Using My Mailbox and Address. Front new neighbors moved in about 5 weeks ago, and it turns out my parents caught them rummaging through my mailbox twice and didn't tell me about it until today when I received government benefit letters in my neighbor's name, but with my address. Our house numbers are not similar at all, so it seems weird. I don't know how many other letters of theirs I've been getting or how many other times they've gone through my mail. I'm planning on writing return to sender, but is there anything else I can do? I have a strong feeling they are misusing my address to qualify for benefits individually and really do not want to get involved in that. And I'm also not okay with them going through my own mailbox. For context, I'm in the US. Isn't that illegal to, go through someone else's mail? I'm pretty sure that's, isn't that a federal crime? I don't know. The top comment says, contact your local postmaster and explain the situation. Follow their advice. Postmasters do not mess around. What is a postmaster? That's so weird. Okay, that's really weird. Also, get a locking mailbox, OP. That's smart. I don't really know what front new neighbors means, but I agree with the comment that says get a locking mailbox. Or if you're in an apartment complex, I would suggest calling the office and being like, hey, these people are weird. But yeah, that's a weird situation. This next one, the title made me laugh. Not really laugh, but it did a little. It's called Upstairs Kids Constantly Stomping in Studio Apartment. The reason it's funny is because my in-laws went on a beach trip. We weren't on it, but they told me that the condo that they were at, pretty much every single morning at 6 a.m. It was my God, the kitties. Pretty much every morning at 6 a.m. at this condo, there were these, it wasn't even these, it was this one kid. He was really young, but he would just wake up and run around. And so my sister-in-laws went upstairs to be like, hey, we can't sleep. And they were pretty much like, he's autistic. What do you want us to do about it? What? I don't know. I don't know. Take him outside. You're at the beach. Apparently he was also running on the dunes too, and they just did not say anything to him. They weren't like, hey, come on, get down. When there's signs that are do not run on the dunes, because they could collapse. But alas, that's in the past. Okay, this one titled Upstairs Kids Constantly Stomping in Studio Apartment. Hi, I never post on Reddit, but my partner and I really needed advice. We live in a shitty 350 square foot studio apartment in Kentucky or Connecticut. I'm embarrassed. It's CT. Sorry. No, it's not Kentucky. Oh my God, it's Connecticut. Kentucky literally starts with a K. Oh my God. Help me. It is definitely overpriced for what it is, but it is all we can afford right now. It's the cheapest apartment complex in the area. We used to have upstairs neighbors who were loud sometimes, but it was nothing we could not handle. We are very lenient when it comes to noise. About a month ago, new people moved in above us. We first heard kids running and screaming in the hallways, and then we started hearing the same voices directly over our apartment. That is when we realized a family of 4 had moved into the 350 square foot studio above us. There is not even a separate bedroom. It is a 0-bedroom, fully open concept space. At first, we felt bad and assumed things would calm down. We genuinely understand that times are tough. We are in a similar boat ourselves. We have never had any complaints while living here, and we have never had issues with anyone else in the building. We actually have a good relationship with the neighbors on our floor, and everyone gets along fine. Because of that, we were really trying to be patient and give this family the benefit of the doubt. However, it's been over a month, and there's constant stomping, running, jumping, bouncing balls, and constant furniture movement from around 8 a.m. until sometimes midnight. They drop heavy things on the floor, and it shakes our entire apartment. A painting even fell off the wall from how hard the impacts were. Sometimes it genuinely sounds like they're going to fall through the ceiling. I lived in a college dorm before this, and it was never anywhere near this loud. Our phones pick up this sound through the ceiling. We both sleep with 2 fans for white noise, and it does nothing because the vibrations cut through everything. Every night around 11 p.m., they drag the beds out, and every morning around 8 a.m., they drag them back. The kids run and jump all day unless they leave, and you can always tell when they get home because it starts again immediately. I nicely emailed our rental management about it over a week ago and never got a reply. Last night, the banging went on until midnight, and I finally reached my breaking point. Today, I called management. The woman on the phone sounded super annoyed and asked if I had already called last week. I told her no, and then I was following up on the email I never received a response to. She said it was strange I did not hear back and told me they sent out generic noise letters to everyone in the building. She said not to be surprised if we get one too, and to ignore it. I tried to explain that this is not normal noise and that our entire apartment shakes. She basically told me she hoped the letter would make them stop. It is not. The banging has been going on all day once again. I am not even looking for them to move out, and we are also not in the position to move either. I just need ways to cope, or at least get management to take this more seriously. To be fair, our rental company is known to suck, so I guess I should have expected this kind of response from them. Any advice is welcome and appreciated. Yeah. I really do hate that for the family, that it's like a family of four having to live in a tiny studio apartment, but like you have to take into consideration that you're in an apartment, such as you should take into consideration that you're at a beach condo, right? Like, there's gonna be noise if you live in an apartment. It's just how it is. You're living in close quarters with other people. That's why me and my fiance literally lived with my mom until we could afford to buy a house, which we were very fortunate to do and lucky with what we got. But like, we didn't want to deal with that because one time we did stay at a beach house, or like a condo, just the two of us, and you could hear everything the couple was doing upstairs, and I was up at 3 a.m. like close to tears because I was like, I don't want to hear it. And that was like, we just could not live in an apartment, and we were lucky to live with my mom. That being said, this couple obviously can handle noise. They said their last neighbors were loud sometimes, the ones upstairs. This is like a ridiculous amount of noise. So, ways to cope. You can maybe get some like noise canceling headphones for a short amount of time and just continue to harass the apartment management, because it's literally their job to get them to stop. Let's read what some of the comments have to suggest. Record the noise like out a camera and show it to management. I think they meant like with a camera. I don't know. This person said, and use an air horn at 4:30 on weekends to get the kids up and annoy the parents. This person said, no, do it 30 minutes after the little rugrats finally fall asleep. As a parent myself, that would be much greater punishment. Whoa. These comments are mad. I was in the exact same situation as you back in 2013. My blood pressure rose just reading your post, and I got a shot of adrenaline thinking about how it takes over your whole life. I hung out at the Y a lot and just did homework and watched TV over there until I had to go home and listen to all their unbelievable amount of noise. I tried talking directly to the neighbor, tried to be nice. She got defensive and nothing changed except her attitude. She eventually got kicked out for reasons unrelated to me, and I didn't give one single shit based on how she treated everyone and the fact she smoked in hallways in a smoke-free building. Best day ever. I'm so sorry you're going through this now. Yeesh. Are there any housing codes in your area about number of people in a studio apartment? True. I do question that, like, there's a lot of people in a teeny, like, it feels like a fire hazard. I don't know, like, I don't want them to get kicked out, but start banging on the ceiling. A sneaker or other soft-soled zip tied to a broom handle will make a nice, soft, non-damaging ceiling banger. Call code enforcement, fire marshal. 4 people in a studio is illegal basically everywhere. That is a fire hazard 100%. They definitely didn't put all of those people on the lease. Yeah. I think my thoughts are just harass the leasing company or the apartment management, because if they're gonna get on your nerves, you ought to get on somebody else's nerves too. That's my thought. That's the last one I have saved. I'm gonna see if there's anything else that's interesting. Guys, I literally found the update and then my camera I stopped recording. I'm being tested. I'm truly being tested today. But here's the update for that last one. Update, it got worse. We had to call the cops. We've been reading through all of your advice, and for now we've decided to wait and see whether the noise complaints management sent out have any effect. For the first 2 days after they were delivered, things actually did seem a little quieter, but then it went right back to the usual level of noise. Throughout the time we've been dealing with these people, we've always had 3 fans on and just assumed the kids were playing and laughing. But lately, we've actually been taking time to stop, turn off all the fans, and really listen. What we're hearing now is definitely not just kids playing. We're hearing loud arguing, slamming, crying, banging, stomping, and what sounds like full-on fighting happening above us. It's been going on for the last few days, and now we're starting to think this may have been happening all along. We just chalked it up to kids stomping, playing, or running around because we never turned the fans off long enough to really hear what was going on beyond the banging. Last night, the noise was worse it has ever been. There was repeated banging, slamming, and yelling from both kids and who I assume are the parents, literally all day, nonstop. It was getting to the point where it was genuinely draining. My partner and I finally got curious and decided to take a walk on the second floor to see what it sounded like from the hallway. Even before I stepped onto the second floor, I could hear them from the stairwell. You could hear loud fighting back and forth, the kids stomping and running while yelling, and the TV blasting on top of everything. It honestly sounded like there might have been more than 4 people in the unit. We heard extra voices and what definitely sounded like a baby crying at one point. Unfortunately, I couldn't understand most of what was being said since I don't speak Spanish, but it was booming through the entire hallway. We were shocked by how loud it was, but we went back to our apartment and wrote yet another email to management explaining how bad things have gotten. I told them I've been recording everything for documentation, and I even referenced our lease and our right to quiet enjoyment. I also brought up the fact that we never received the noise notice they claim they sent out. Either management never sent it, or the upstairs neighbors received it and they just don't care. Because the situation is only getting worse, considering management has ignored my last 2 emails and sounded annoyed when I called, we were honestly just trying to figure out what to do next. After we sent the email, we were basically stuck sitting there and just dealing with the banging. The management office is closed on weekends, so our plan was to call first thing Monday and follow up. But instead of letting up, the noise somehow got even worse. The banging and slamming kept escalating. Slam, bang, slam, slam, bang, slam. God. The banging and slamming kept escalating. Slam, slam, bang, slam. With the kids screaming, crying, and more yelling. By this point, we were starting to get genuinely concerned. My partner then left our apartment to go back upstairs and knock on their door to politely ask if they could quiet down. But when we went upstairs for the second time, we heard one of the younger children crying in a shrill, high-pitched scream, crying unbelievably hard, and we both clearly made out the dad yelling, "Shut up." Then there was more slamming echoing through the hallway. He managed to get a recording of it, but it didn't sound like a normal tantrum at all. After hearing that, he didn't feel comfortable knocking and came straight back downstairs. I could hear it from inside our apartment too. We came to the conclusion that there might be something seriously wrong going on. So we called for an anonymous wellness check on the non-emergency line for our city. The guy who picked up was extremely understanding and sent out a guy right away, since from what we described, better safe than sorry. We were able to kind of make out when the cop arrived, and the moment they left, everything escalated even further. The kids' crying was unbearable, the banging and slamming were relentless, and the arguing and screaming back and forth never stopped. It honestly felt far worse than before we even called. It got to the point where we started questioning ourselves, wondering if we were even hearing things right, or if the cop had actually come at all. After an hour of this, my partner called the non-emergency line one more time just to confirm that the cop had actually come. since it sounded like the situation was getting worse up there. To our surprise, he had. The operator asked if the noise was still going on, and we confirmed that it was just as bad, if not worse, than before. They decided it was appropriate to send another officer to check in. About 15 minutes later, the cop arrived. This time, we were able to clearly tell when he got there. We heard the door to the upstairs unit open, the kids' screams echo through the stairway, the knock on their door, and then quiet, followed by the cop opening the hall door to leave. After the second call, they finally settled down, but now I'm just like, fuck. I had already sent an email to management before all this craziness started, and I feel bad continually bothering them because I don't want to make issues, but this is way beyond normal noise. It's completely unmanageable, and it's honestly starting to feel unsafe. Hearing what was happening upstairs genuinely made us anxious. We're both kind of at a loss because we want management to take this seriously. We thought about switching units or transferring to an upstairs apartment, but I'm not sure if anything is even available. From when we did our walkthrough, it seems like the units may all be taken. And now I don't know if I even want to be on the same hall as these people. Can y'all hear Sam screaming at me? If you can, sorry. What would you guys do in this situation? Any advice? We've never dealt with anything like this before, let alone calling the cops. I feel pretty guilty about it, but it felt necessary. The top comment is any management company that rents a 350 square foot apartment to 4 people does not care about anyone else's rights as long as they get paid. That's facts. But if it's illegal, I would be calling somebody up. Also, I'm very disturbed. It sounds like these kids are literally being abused. They did do a second update on this one, so let's read that. Hello all, thank you so much for your incredibly helpful advice and comments. This has definitely been an upsetting situation, and we did end up submitting an anonymous report to CPS. What comes out of that, we aren't sure. I hope something good comes out of it. We also are emailing the management company with all the details of last night and the recordings. My partner is also going to call and follow up first thing tomorrow morning with our rental company. We are also checking into potential code or occupancy violations with the unit above us. Thank you to everyone who shared advice on who to reach out to. We'll keep recording what's happening, and we'll continue to call the police whenever we hear concerning activity. That is, I hate that they did have to call CPS because, you hear so many horror stories with CPS and just, how children are treated within the system, but, man, I can only hope. I mean, they did what I would say was right in this situation. If you think a child is being abused, you should act upon that. But I hope all the necessary things happen that need to happen. I hope if the kids are taken from this family, I hope they are placed, somewhere where they're safe and happy, and I just hope everything works out. I'm actually going to go. The update was on December 7th, so not that long ago. Let me see. They did. I don't think there's any update after the one I just read, so yeah, I hope it all works out. That's sad. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I did want to apologize. My last video was super quiet. When I was editing it, it was so loud in my headphones, and I thought I was gonna burst people's eardrums. I also kept going in the microphone, so I really hope I didn't do that this time. If I did, my bad. I'm still learning. But yeah, thank you for watching my second episode on whatever this is. I don't have a name for it, but maybe I'll come up with one. If you have any suggestions, comment them down below. Also, comment any neighbor horror stories you have. If you have any, I would love to hear them, or your thoughts on any of these stories that I read today. I would also love to hear those. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, a comment, maybe even subscribe if you want to. And yeah, thank you so much. Peace and love. Bye. Please be recording. Please be recording. Please be recording.
Oh,